Well, hello everyone and welcome to week 53 of my life as an L3 CTS cadet pilot. It's week 22 in New Zealand, and that intro you just saw then was a time lapse of me preparing for my cross-country qualifier the night before. So did it go ahead? No. Unfortunately cancelled due to weather again, but I thought I'd share that with you just to give you an idea of how much planning we have to do the night before a flight. I mean, what you saw there wasn't the complete plan, because that was the, New Plymouth, Rotorua and back to Hamilton flights. You saw me do the planning there, but that was with no weather included. The next morning I would have to get up and do that. I would also do the mass and balance, some of the performance, and I think there's one more thing that I need to do, but I can't remember what it is. It's probably check like no tangent supplements, but they change on the day. So didn't do the cross-country qualifier, we have to do that another time, didn't do that this week. So what have I been up to this week? Well, now that we've done PT1, we're now moving on to the more advanced phase of training, but I still had one more night flight to do, and basically all I needed was 2 full stop landings and 0.4 an hour flight time, and I did that on Monday. And basically went up in, I can't remember which aircraft it was, I think it was Sierra Foxtrot Golf. Good little aircraft, but the lighting on it isn't great, so that didn't make night flying as enjoyable as it should be, because I was constantly squinting to read the airspeed indicator because my head was blocking one of the lights that was illuminating it, so that was very interesting. But no, did my 2 full stop landings and all went well, 2 solid landings, taxied back in with exactly 0.4 of an hour, so I logged the exact amount of time that I needed. So that's now night flying complete for the single engine, but I believe we do a little bit of night flying on the twin engine, so not quite done for night flying yet. Really looking forward to that. So this week I've done 4 sims, I think it was? Yeah, 4 sims I've done. And basically we go into the Twin Star sim to practice IFR procedures, but because it's been a little while since we've done a bit of IF flying, the first simulator is like 1.2 hours, and basically all we do is instrument flying revision. We get used to the sim and the IFR procedures, so it's quite a relaxing simulator flight. It's not too difficult and it's quite nice. Starts to get quite interesting from about the 2nd and 3rd sim onwards. So my 2nd sim, we do what's known as VOR tracking, and basically for that it's only an hour-long sim, so it's quite an intense one, but there's not much to do in it. And it's basically what you normally do in this case is you would select VOR, which in that case we would use Hamilton, which is right there. It's literally on the airfield. Not quite, but it's near enough. And basically you spend the whole sim going, okay, I'm now going to track outbound on the 300 radial, and then once I'm say, like, I don't know, 8 miles away, the instructor will then say, okay, I now want you to track inbound on the 270 radial. And that basically means you need to work out which way you're going to turn. So in that case I would turn left and then onto what heading, but you don't turn straight onto, well, because it's inbound, you'll be going flying 090, but 270 radial. VORs, they can be a bit of a mess at times. But you need to intercept that, so a better heading to fly would be something like 120. 30 degrees intercept angle is quite nice. Comes in reasonably fast, but not stupidly fast that you go and blow through the centre line of the tracking that you're trying to do. But it's a good sim, gets used to VORs, and it's not particularly difficult. 3rd sim, however, is much harder. This is a 2-hour sim, and we do a VOR holding. Now, holding pattern sounds easy, you just fly around in circles. Wrong. It's a lot harder than that, and this is one of the few sims where you need to do a lot more prep work before the flights. Well, the sim in this case, but in the flights even more. And basically there are 3 ways to get into a holding pattern. You can do a direct entry, it's a nice and easy one. You can do a parallel join or an offset join. And to work that out, you basically need to work out what's the inbound heading of the inbound track of the VOR hold Hamilton's VOR hold is a right hand hold. I think the inbound track is, you know what, I can't remember actually. I'll have to get the plates and have a look, but I won't do that now. But basically, about half the angles are going to be a direct entry, which is great. You can just fly straight over the beacon and go straight into a hold. Nice and easy. The other two, parallel and offset, it gets a little bit messy, but you end up doing the same thing. And the hardest thing about holding is when there's wind. It's easy if there's no wind, you just fly 180 degrees in each direction, rate on turns 1 minute, no problem. But then the instructor will ask you to go, okay, what's the wind doing? You've got to look at your instruments, work out what the wind's doing. If you've been paying attention and you've looked at the ATIS or the winds aloft, you can probably have a very good idea of what the wind's doing. But the instructor will change what the wind's doing during the flight. Little trick of the sim, usually when the wind changes, you'll see a very sudden change in your airspeed. So if you go from, say, like a 10 knot headwind to a 10 knot tailwind, you'll suddenly see a drop in 20 knots on your airspeed. So that's a good little tip for the sim, that is. Can't really do it in the real world though, because wind doesn't change that fast. But basically, you need to work out whether you need to hold single drift, double drift, triple drift, how much you need to add on for your outbound leg, or subtract if you've got, say, a tailwind. So it sounds easy talking about it, but when you're in the sim trying to fly the damn thing, doing all your radar at the same time, and your instructor's messing around with a few things on the aircraft, it's a very intense sim, and for 2 hours you come out and you will be a mess on the floor. Like, if you come out of that sim and found it easy, you're not human. So after that sim, we then do I think it's another 2 hour sim, and that's where we do VOR, not holding, we just do VOR approaches into an airfield, which in our case again is going to be Hamilton, that's where we were doing them all the time. And with a VOR approach, we basically, tell you what, I'm just going to pause the video here, I'm just going to go and get an airfield plate and show you exactly what we do. Back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. So I've got my IFR plates here. There's another thing you have to do is print a load of IFR plates off before doing even the simulators. And what I've got here is the IFR plates for 3 airfields, which are Hamilton, Rotorua and Tauranga. And I'll see if I can find the standby on nav approaches. Here we go. VOR, DME, Hamilton, runway 18 left. Now, I'll show you what this looks like. That's a pretty standard Jefferson plate for a VOR DME approach. So the kind of thing you'd have to do is you'd go from a holding pattern, so in this case you'd be at 3,000 feet or higher, and your inbound track would be 329, and then depending on which category of aircraft you are, so in this case this approach is classified for A, B, C and D type aircraft. 2 different outbound tracks. You've got one for category A and B and another for category C and D. C and D is more for the commercial guys, the bigger aircraft. A and B is for us on smaller aircraft. So a standard VOR DME approach into Hamilton would be track outbound, heading tracking 346 to 9.5 DME. Then you turn right to track the inbound on the track 176, top of descent 8.8, final approach fix 5 miles, and then you've got the missed approach, which you have to initiate before 520 feet or 0.6 of a mile, and then at that point you track to what sounds Budden mandatory 3,500 feet. Sounds easy, but takes some getting used to. But again, it's really good fun, but take your time, and as usual you will come out of these sims in a bit of a mess, but thankfully I got the feedback from my instructor and said I did very well, so pat myself on the back, though I was really happy with that. So that was all the sims for this week. I've got 2 more sims before we go on to the G1000 Cessna 172. I think we do 1 more sim doing approaches. I think that includes some of the RNAV stuff, so like doing standard instrument departures and standard arrivals. And then the last sim is like a proficiency check. It's sort of like a mini test where we get a yes or a no, whether we get to go onto the Cessna or not. If we get a no, we have to spend more time on the simulator. If we get a yes, we go onto the G1000 Cessna, which I'm really looking forward to, using some more advanced equipment. I mean, we've been using the DA42 Twin Star, and already it's so nice to have technology available. I mean, like, not all of the Katanas that I've been flying have had GPS on them, so that's quite nice. And like being able to determine ground speed, even with the G1000 it has a few little tricks, like if you want to work out how much crosswind component there is, there's a little purple diamond on the PFD and it tells you how much the aircraft is drifting by. So that's quite a neat little trick, and if once your instructor's happy that you know how to work out what the wind's doing, you can actually go into the PFD menu and turn on the wind arrow, and that will tell you exactly what the wind is doing there and then, which is great for holding, because you can literally just look at that and go, okay, I've got 20 knots of crosswind component, I'm doing 120 knots ground speed, which basically means my single drift would be 10 degrees, if I was doing triple it would be 30, if it was double it would be 20. Nearly had a bit of a maths foul there. So anyhow, thank you very much for watching this video. Quite a lot went on, but it's been good fun. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to share it with anyone who you feel might be interested in this series. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye bye.